Continuing from our discussion in the previous session, I, your host Harshit Simha, warmly welcome you once again as we advance our exploration of the Solid Waste Management Rules 2026, with a focused emphasis on the roles and responsibilities of regulatory authorities that underpin the accountable and effective implementation of India's National Waste Management Framework. These authorities function across multiple tiers of governance, providing strategic direction, regulatory oversight, and technical supervision across the entire solid waste management value chain. Their mandate spans policy formulation, standard setting, stakeholder authorization and registration, compliance monitoring, and enforcement of environmental safeguards. Regulatory institutions are further entrusted with issuing technical guidelines, prescribing operational and emission standards, and facilitating capacity-building initiatives to support local bodies and service providers. They play a pivotal role in data governance through digital reporting platforms, audits, and public disclosure mechanisms, thereby enabling transparency and evidence-based decision-making. Strong coordination among central, state, and local institutions is emphasized to ensure regulatory coherence, address implementation challenges, and align solid waste management with broader environmental, public health, and climate objectives. Collectively, these functions reinforce institutional accountability, promote best practices, and ensure the sustainable, efficient, and socially responsible implementation of the Solid Waste Management Rules 2026. Slide 2. Centralized Online Portal Functionality and Fee. The Solid Waste Management Rules 2026 establish a centralized online portal as a cornerstone of India's digital governance framework for solid waste management. Developed and maintained by the Central Pollution Control Board, the portal provides a unified digital infrastructure to enhance transparency, accountability, and real-time monitoring across the entire waste management value chain. The portal serves as a registration system for all key stakeholders, including waste generators, bulk waste generators, collection and transportation entities, waste processing facility operators, and landfill operators. It enables online registration, submission of annual and periodic returns, issuance of certificates, and verification of compliance within prescribed timelines. A key feature of the portal is the public dashboard, which displays national, state, district, and local body-level data on waste generation, segregation, processing, waste-to-energy utilization, and landfilling across urban and rural areas. This ensures public access to validated information and supports data-driven policy decisions. The portal also enables facility tracking, allowing authorities to monitor the performance of processing facilities, legacy waste dump sites, and landfills from waste receipt to final disposal. Additionally, it functions as a single repository for notifications, guidelines, audit reports, compliance orders, and operational documentation related to the rules. By integrating operational functionality with transparent fee structures, the centralized online portal strengthens regulatory oversight, simplifies compliance, and supports efficient, technology-enabled implementation of the Solid Waste Management Rules 2026. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules 2026, the centralized online portal enables streamlined digital compliance through structured workflows for registration, reporting, certification, and monitoring of all solid waste management stakeholders. The portal facilitates real-time data submission, validation, and tracking of waste management activities, ensuring transparency and regulatory oversight across jurisdictions. A defined fee structure supports portal operations. User charges are levied for registrations, certifications, audits, and specific regulatory services, with fees differentiated by stakeholder category. Collected fees are transparently administered to sustain portal functionality, digital infrastructure, and regulatory processes, ensuring efficient, accountable, and technology-driven implementation of the rules nationwide. Slide 3. Environmental Compensation Framework. The Solid Waste Management Rules 2026 introduce a structured environmental compensation framework grounded in the polluter pays principle, ensuring accountability for non-compliance with environmental protection requirements. This framework is designed to deter violations, recover environmental costs, and reinforce responsible waste management practices across all stakeholders. At the authority triggering stage, compensation is initiated in cases of mandatory registration failure, non-submission of returns, improper waste segregation, illegal dumping, open burning, or other violations related to collection, transportation, processing, or disposal of solid waste. These triggers ensure that both operational and reporting lapses are addressed in a timely manner. The guideline development function is led by the Central Pollution Control Board, which formulates standardized methodologies for assessing environmental damage and calculating compensation amounts. These guidelines provide uniformity and proportionality in enforcement actions across states and sectors. Enforcement authority rests with state pollution control boards and pollution control committees, which issue directions, levy environmental compensation, and grant reasonable time for corrective action before escalating enforcement measures. Finally, fund utilization provisions ensure that compensation collected is not treated as punitive revenue but is channeled toward remediation, infrastructure development, capacity building, and environmental restoration initiatives, as approved by the Central Implementation Committee. Collectively, this framework strengthens compliance, promotes corrective action, and supports sustainable environmental governance under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Slide 4. Implementation committees at central and state levels. The Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026 establish dedicated implementation committees at both central and state levels to ensure coordinated, effective, and region-responsive execution of the regulatory framework. These committees function as institutional mechanisms for oversight, policy alignment, and resolution of implementation challenges. At the central level, the Implementation Committee is constituted by the Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, under the chairmanship of the Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. The Central Committee is responsible for recommending implementation measures, monitoring nationwide progress, addressing systemic bottlenecks, and providing strategic guidance to states. It also oversees the Centralized Online Portal and supports inter-ministerial coordination. The composition includes representatives from key ministries such as Housing and Urban Affairs, Drinking Water and Sanitation, Rural Development, Panchayati Raj, Railways, Agriculture, and Industry and Research Institutions, ensuring a holistic, cross-sectoral approach. At the state level, implementation committees are constituted under the chairpersonship of the Chief Secretary or a senior nominated officer, reflecting the importance of high-level administrative leadership. These committees are tasked with translating national provisions into context-specific action, considering regional conditions, infrastructure capacities, and local challenges. State committees monitor compliance by urban and rural local bodies, facilitate establishment of processing and treatment facilities, and coordinate with state pollution control boards and pollution control committees for enforcement. Both central and state committees play a critical role in strengthening institutional coordination, ensuring consistency in implementation, and enabling adaptive governance. Together, they provide a structured platform for oversight, accountability, and continuous improvement in the implementation of the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Slide 5. Annual Reporting Framework and Accident Reporting Protocol. The Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026 establish a comprehensive annual reporting framework and a clear accident reporting protocol to strengthen transparency, accountability, and risk management across the solid waste management system. Under the annual reporting framework, all key stakeholders are assigned defined reporting obligations. Bulk waste generators and waste processing facility operators are required to submit annual returns in prescribed formats to the concerned local body and State Pollution Control Board by the 30th of June each year. These reports must detail waste generation quantities, segregation practices, processing capacity, compliance status, and operational performance. Urban local bodies and Gram Panchayats are similarly required to submit consolidated annual reports to the state urban or rural development departments and the State Pollution Control Board within the same timeline. To ensure data integrity and regulatory oversight, state pollution control boards must compile audit-based annual compliance reports, either through self-assessment or by engaging registered environmental auditors, and submit these to the state government. At the national level, state governments forward consolidated state reports to the Central Pollution Control Board by the 31st of July, enabling the CPCB to prepare a national consolidated report for submission to the central government by the 31st of August each year. The Accident Reporting Protocol addresses incidents occurring at waste processing, treatment, disposal, or landfill facilities. In the event of an accident, the officer in charge must immediately notify the local body and relevant authorities, detailing the nature, cause, and potential impacts of the incident. The local body is responsible for reviewing the accident report, issuing corrective instructions, and initiating preventive measures to avoid recurrence. This protocol ensures timely response, minimizes environmental and public health risks, and strengthens operational safety. Together, these reporting mechanisms enable data-driven governance, institutional accountability, and proactive risk management under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Slide 6. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, MoEFCC, provides overarching policy leadership, strategic direction, and national-level oversight for effective solid waste management across India. The ministry is responsible for ensuring that the rules are implemented in alignment with environmental protection objectives, climate commitments, and sustainable development priorities. A key institutional mechanism under the rules is the Central Monitoring Committee, constituted by the MoEFCC and chaired at the secretary level. This committee includes representatives from key ministries such as Housing and Urban Affairs, Drinking Water and Sanitation, Rural Development, Panchayati Raj, Railways, Agriculture, State Pollution Control Boards, and domain experts. The committee meets at least once a year to review implementation progress, address systemic challenges, and recommend corrective or policy measures. The MoEFCC also plays a critical role in reviewing national performance, facilitating inter-ministerial coordination, and ensuring periodic reconstitution of the committee to maintain balanced stakeholder representation. Through these functions, the ministry strengthens institutional accountability and ensures consistent, effective, and environmentally sound implementation of the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026 nationwide. Slide 7. Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, MoHA, plays a pivotal role in strengthening urban solid waste management systems across states and union territories. The ministry provides strategic guidance, institutional support, and financial facilitation to enable effective implementation of the rules in urban areas. MoHA undertakes periodic reviews of solid waste management performance at the state and urban local body levels, including evaluation of projects funded or supported by the ministry. These reviews help identify implementation gaps, promote best practices, and ensure alignment with national urban development objectives. The ministry also supports action plan facilitation, assisting states and urban local bodies in preparing time-bound, compliant action plans to achieve full adherence to the rules. A key responsibility of MoHA is annual reporting facilitation, ensuring that urban local bodies submit accurate and timely compliance reports to state departments by the 30th of June each year. This enables consolidated state-level and national reporting. Additionally, MoHA is responsible for guideline development, including issuing and periodically updating technical advisories on waste processing technologies, waste-to-energy projects, environmental safeguards, and performance benchmarks. MoHA further provides policy support to states, facilitating formulation and revision of urban solid waste management strategies, with mandatory updates at defined intervals. Through these coordinated functions, the ministry strengthens urban waste governance, enhances implementation capacity, and supports sustainable, resilient, and environmentally sound urban development under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Slide 8. Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Extended Responsibilities. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, MoHA, is entrusted with extended responsibilities to strengthen institutional capacity and enable sustainable urban waste management. A key focus area is capacity building, through which the ministry promotes research and innovation, disseminates technical knowledge to states and urban local bodies, and assists in developing training programs for personnel engaged in waste management operations. MoHA also facilitates the adoption of national and international best practices and issues guidance on effective waste segregation models. In the domain of infrastructure and finance, MoHA supports the development of rule-compliant waste management infrastructure by providing technical guidance and project financing support. It facilitates integration of the informal sector, promotes preparation of model documents such as concession agreements and bidding frameworks, and ensures adequate environmental and social safeguards. The ministry also encourages establishment of material recovery facilities in urban areas, reviews and approves waste treatment technologies, and supports timely implementation of solid waste projects. Collectively, these responsibilities enhance implementation effectiveness and urban sustainability. Slide 9. Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, the Department of Drinking Water and Sanitation, DDWS, plays a critical role in aligning solid waste management with national sanitation priorities and sustainable development objectives, particularly in rural and peri-urban areas. The department ensures that solid waste initiatives complement broader sanitation programs and contribute to improved public health outcomes. A core responsibility of DDWS is review and monitoring. The department conducts annual reviews of state and union territory rural solid waste management performance, including assessment of projects supported through central schemes. Based on these reviews, DDWS provides corrective guidance to states to address implementation gaps and strengthen compliance with the rules. DDWS also undertakes policy facilitation, supporting states in formulating and updating rural solid waste management policies with an emphasis on inclusivity, urban-rural linkages, and decentralized systems. States are encouraged to update their policies within prescribed timelines to reflect evolving regulatory and operational requirements. In the area of research and capacity building, the department promotes rural waste management research, disseminates best practices, and provides technical guidance to Gram Panchayats, local bodies, and stakeholders. Additionally, DDWS supports infrastructure development, including establishment of material recovery facilities in rural areas, preparation of user fee structures, and development of certificate and cost guidelines. Through these coordinated functions, DDWS strengthens rural waste governance and sanitation outcomes under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Slide 10. Department of Fertilizer, Responsibilities. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, the Department of Fertilizer plays a strategic role in promoting resource recovery through the productive use of organic waste as agricultural inputs. A key responsibility of the department is the promotion of organic manure, encouraging the conversion of biodegradable waste into compost and other organic soil conditioners. Through appropriate policy measures and incentive mechanisms, the department supports the integration of compost and biomanure with chemical fertilizer, enabling balanced nutrient management. Fertilizer companies are encouraged to co-market organic manure alongside chemical fertilizer in defined ratios, strengthening market acceptance and farmer outreach. The department also undertakes market development initiatives to create sustainable demand for organic fertilizer derived from waste processing facilities. It may provide advisory support to fertilizer manufacturers and distributors to facilitate marketing, distribution, and awareness of city compost and other organic products. To ensure transparency and accountability, fertilizer companies receiving assistance are required to submit annual information on organic manure procurement, sales, and distribution, including quantities sourced from waste processing plants. Additionally, the department supports the development of pricing and offtake guidelines for organic manure, including differentiated pricing structures where necessary, to improve commercial viability. Through these responsibilities, the Department of Fertilizer strengthens circular economy linkages between urban waste management systems and agricultural productivity, contributing to soil health, resource efficiency, and sustainable development under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Slide 11. Department of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, the Department of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare, DANFW, plays a crucial role in integrating waste-derived organic inputs into sustainable agricultural practices. The department provides standards development support by aligning compost and biomanure quality specifications with fertilizer control order standards, ensuring that organic manure produced from municipal and agro waste is safe, effective, and suitable for agricultural use. A key responsibility of the department is the issuance of application guidelines, prescribing appropriate dosage and use of organic manure on agricultural land to maximize soil health benefits while avoiding adverse impacts. To safeguard farmers' interests, DANFW ensures quality assurance, including certification and monitoring mechanisms for compost and organic inputs produced from waste processing facilities. The department also supports testing infrastructure development, facilitating establishment and strengthening of laboratories for testing compost quality, nutrient content, and contamination levels. These facilities enhance credibility and market acceptance of organic manure products. In addition, DANFW promotes home composting by issuing technical guidelines to encourage decentralized composting practices at the household and community levels, particularly in rural and peri-urban areas. Finally, the department develops standard operating procedures for organic manure usage and quality grading, supporting safe application and farmer confidence. Through these responsibilities, DANFW strengthens linkages between waste management and sustainable agriculture, advancing soil health, resource efficiency, and farmer welfare under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Slide 12. Cross-Ministerial Energy and Skill Development. The Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026 emphasize cross-ministerial coordination to strengthen energy recovery and skill development across the waste management ecosystem. This collaborative approach ensures that solid waste is not only managed safely but also leveraged as a resource for energy generation and green employment. The Ministry of Power plays a key role by determining tariffs and regulatory frameworks for electricity generated from waste-to-energy plants. It facilitates grid integration, periodic tariff revision, and compulsory purchase obligations, thereby improving the financial viability and long-term sustainability of waste-based power projects. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, MNRE, supports the promotion of innovative recycling technologies and environmentally sound waste-to-energy solutions. MNRE provides policy guidance, technical assistance, and incentives to encourage adoption of renewable energy pathways derived from solid waste. The Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship contributes by developing certification programs and structured training initiatives for workers engaged in waste processing, material recovery facilities, and waste-to-energy operations. These programs enhance technical competence, safety standards, and employability. The Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas supports biogas and compressed biogas, CBG, development by incentivizing biogas plants, ensuring buyback mechanisms, facilitating pipeline connectivity, and promoting market integration. Together, these coordinated efforts strengthen energy recovery, build skilled manpower, and advance circular economy objectives under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Slide 13. Financial and Industrial Promotion Mechanisms. The Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026 integrate targeted financial and industrial promotion mechanisms to strengthen investment, innovation, and institutional adoption across the waste management value chain. These mechanisms are designed to enhance ease of compliance, encourage private sector participation, and support long-term sustainability of waste processing infrastructure. The Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance plays a facilitative role by enabling fiscal incentives for the waste management sector. This includes rationalization of customs duties, tax incentives, and exemptions for the import of specialized machinery and equipment used in waste processing, recycling, and treatment facilities. Such measures reduce capital costs and promote modernization of waste management infrastructure. The Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, DPIIT, supports industrial facilitation through the National Single Window System, NSWS, streamlining approvals and authorizations required for waste processing plants. By integrating permissions from state pollution control boards and pollution control committees, DPIIT reduces procedural delays and improves ease of doing business for waste management enterprises. The Ministry of Education contributes by promoting inclusion of solid waste management concepts in school curricula at appropriate educational levels, fostering early awareness and responsible environmental behavior. At the local level, Ministry of Panchayati Raj ensures that village-level bylaws incorporate provisions of the rules, strengthening grassroots implementation. Slide 14. State Urban Development Department, Duties and Infrastructure Mandates. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, the State Urban Development Departments, UDDs, are entrusted with a central role in translating national policy into effective, on-ground urban waste management systems. Acting as the nodal agencies at the state and union territory level, UDDs provide strategic leadership, institutional coordination, and technical oversight for implementation of the rules across urban local bodies. A core responsibility of state UDDs is policy development and enforcement. States are required to prepare and notify comprehensive solid waste management policies and strategies aligned with the 2026 rules, ensuring integration with urban development plans, climate action strategies, and public health objectives. UDDs oversee implementation of waste segregation at source, door-to-door collection, processing, treatment, and scientific disposal across municipal jurisdictions, while coordinating with state pollution control boards for regulatory compliance. State UDDs also shoulder significant infrastructure mandates. They are responsible for planning, facilitating, and monitoring the establishment of waste management infrastructure, including collection systems, transfer stations, material recovery facilities, composting and biomethanation plants, waste-to-energy facilities, and sanitary landfills. Emphasis is placed on decentralized processing and proximity-based infrastructure to minimize transportation distances and environmental impacts. In terms of implementation support, UDDs provide technical guidance and financial facilitation to urban local bodies, assist in preparing detailed project reports, and enable access to state and central funding schemes. They ensure integration of informal waste pickers into formal systems, promote public-private partnerships, and facilitate capacity building of municipal staff. Operational excellence is reinforced through mandates for digital registration, real-time data reporting on centralized portals, periodic performance reviews, and adoption of best practices. UDDs are also responsible for strengthening grievance redressal mechanisms, monitoring service delivery standards, and ensuring accountability through audits and compliance reviews. Collectively, these duties and infrastructure mandates position state urban development departments as the backbone of effective urban solid waste governance under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Slide 15, State Urban Department, Extended Mandates. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, state urban development departments are assigned extended mandates to deepen compliance, strengthen institutional performance, and accelerate sustainable urban waste management outcomes. These mandates complement core duties by focusing on digital governance, planning integration, capacity enhancement, and stakeholder engagement. A key extended responsibility is portal onboarding. State urban departments must ensure that all urban local bodies are registered on the Centralized Online Portal and regularly upload data on infrastructure, operations, and compliance activities within prescribed timelines, including annual submissions by the 30th of June. This supports transparent monitoring and evidence-based decision-making. The departments are also tasked with promoting recognition and performance awards, formally acknowledging urban local bodies that demonstrate excellence in waste segregation, processing efficiency, and innovation. Such recognition programs encourage competition, best practice adoption, and peer learning across cities. To maintain momentum and accountability, state urban departments are required to organize annual review campaigns, including one-week intensive assessments in the fourth week of June. These campaigns involve district magistrates and senior officials in evaluating infrastructure readiness, service delivery, and compliance status. The rules further emphasize public-private partnership, PPP, encouragement, directing states to promote viable PPP models for sustainable waste management infrastructure development, operations, and maintenance. Integration of waste management into city master plans is another critical mandate. Planning departments must incorporate waste processing and disposal provisions into urban development plans by September 30, 2026. Finally, state urban departments must ensure land allocation for waste infrastructure through metropolitan, district, or town planning committees. Collectively, these extended mandates strengthen urban waste governance, planning coherence, and long-term sustainability under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Slide 16, State Rural Development Department, Responsibilities and Implementation Framework. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, the state rural development departments are responsible for ensuring effective implementation of solid waste management systems in rural areas through decentralized, community-led approaches. They provide policy guidance and institutional support to Gram Panchayats and rural local bodies for enforcing segregation at source, door-to-door collection, and environmentally sound treatment and disposal of waste. The Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026 provide a structured state rural development implementation framework to ensure effective, inclusive, and sustainable solid waste management across rural areas. This framework emphasizes decentralized planning, community participation, and convergence with existing rural development and sanitation programs. At the core of the framework is rule enforcement by rural local authorities, supported by state rural development departments. Gram Panchayats are required to implement segregation at source, door-to-door collection, and safe treatment and disposal systems, with viability gap support provided where necessary. To address scale and efficiency, the framework promotes peri-urban and rural cluster-based models, enabling shared infrastructure for waste collection, processing, and disposal across neighboring villages. The framework also advances circular economy principles through establishment of state-level steering committees to guide resource recovery, composting, and reuse of waste-derived products. Portal integration is mandated, requiring rural local bodies to register infrastructure and operational data on the Centralized Online Portal by the 30th of June each year, ensuring transparency and monitoring. Recognition and incentive mechanisms are embedded to reward high-performing panchayats and encourage peer learning. In addition, the framework prioritizes biogas economy development, promoting biomethanation projects, organic manure utilization, and convergence with agricultural and energy initiatives. Collectively, this implementation framework strengthens rural waste governance, enhances environmental outcomes, and supports sustainable livelihoods under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Slide 17, District Magistrate, Critical Role. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, the District Magistrate, DM, plays a pivotal role in ensuring effective, coordinated, and timely implementation of solid waste management systems at the district level. Acting as the Chief Administrative Authority, the DM facilitates identification, allocation, and transfer of suitable land for waste management infrastructure in coordination with state urban and rural development departments. Land allocation decisions and approvals are uploaded on the Centralized Online Portal to ensure transparency. The District Magistrate also provides planning and oversight, integrating solid waste pollution prevention and control measures into district-level social and economic development plans. The DM reviews and monitors the entire waste management value chain, including segregation, collection, processing, treatment, and disposal, and convenes interdepartmental meetings to address operational gaps. In addition, the DM exercises inspection and compliance oversight, ensuring that waste processing facilities, transfer stations, and landfills operate in accordance with prescribed standards. By enabling coordination between urban and rural jurisdictions in common processing facilities, the district magistrate strengthens accountability, resolves implementation challenges, and ensures efficient, environmentally sound solid waste management at the district level. Slide 18. Central Pollution Control Board functions and extended duties. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, the Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, serves as the apex technical and coordinating authority for nationwide implementation of solid waste management regulations. CPCB plays a central role in ensuring consistency, environmental integrity, and regulatory effectiveness across states and union territories. A key function of CPCB is coordination, whereby it supports central and state authorities in implementing the rules and prescribed standards, while facilitating uniform adherence by urban and rural local bodies. CPCB also exercises standard-setting authority, formulating national guidelines for groundwater protection, emission control, leachate management, and environmentally sound operation of waste processing and disposal facilities. CPCB undertakes periodic review and updating of standards, ensuring that environmental norms, performance benchmarks, and approved technologies remain aligned with evolving scientific knowledge and operational realities. In its monitoring role, CPCB oversees the performance of state pollution control boards and pollution control committees, ensuring that prescribed standards are implemented and compliance is consistently enforced. This also includes local bodies' inclusion for monitor rule implementation through state pollution control boards. The board is responsible for annual reporting, preparing a consolidated national implementation report based on state submissions and publishing it in the public domain by the 30th of September each year. Apart from this, Central Pollution Control Board have extended duties. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, the Central Pollution Control Board, CPCB, is entrusted with expanded responsibilities to strengthen both technical guidance and implementation support across the country. On the technical front, CPCB is mandated to publish and periodically update guidelines for facility maintenance, waste processing, and environmentally sound disposal practices. It also develops emission and leachate standards, operational benchmarks, and sector-specific advisories to ensure uniform compliance. CPCB further supports capacity building by issuing manuals, facilitating knowledge exchange, and enabling digital reporting mechanisms through centralized portals. In terms of implementation support, CPCB functions as the national coordinating authority through the Central Implementation Committee, working under the chairmanship of the Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It reviews state-level compliance, monitors performance against environmental and emission norms, and assists in resolving operational and technical challenges. CPCB also validates environmental standards, oversees reporting frameworks, and supports data-driven monitoring to ensure effective, consistent, and transparent implementation of the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026 nationwide. Slide 19. Urban Local Body Comprehensive Responsibilities and Operational Excellence. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, urban local bodies, ULBs, are entrusted with comprehensive responsibilities for planning, implementing, and sustaining effective solid waste management systems within their jurisdictions. As the primary executing authorities, ULBs are responsible for ensuring environmental quality, public health protection, and compliance with prescribed regulatory standards. A key responsibility of ULBs is planning and registration. ULBs must prepare city-level solid waste management action plans aligned with state policies and national guidelines, covering segregation, collection, processing, treatment, and disposal. They are required to register all waste management infrastructure, facilities, and service providers on the Centralized Online Portal and regularly update operational data. ULBs are also responsible for developing and maintaining infrastructure across the waste management value chain. This includes establishing systems for door-to-door collection, source segregation, decentralized processing of biodegradable waste, material recovery facilities for recyclables, and scientifically designed sanitary landfills for residual waste. Integration of informal waste pickers into formal systems and ensuring occupational safety are integral components of this mandate. Further, ULBs must enforce regulatory compliance, levy user fees, manage contracts with service providers, and ensure adherence to environmental norms. They are required to maintain accurate records, submit periodic reports, and facilitate audits and inspections. Collectively, these comprehensive responsibilities position urban local bodies as the cornerstone of effective, accountable, and sustainable urban solid waste management under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, urban local bodies, ULBs, are expected to achieve high standards of operational excellence in solid waste management through efficient service delivery, technology adoption, and community engagement. ULBs must ensure comprehensive coverage of door-to-door collection and transportation systems, maintaining strict segregation of waste streams from source to processing or disposal facilities. Operational excellence also requires technology integration, including deployment of GPS-enabled vehicles, digital monitoring systems, and real-time data reporting through the Centralized Online Portal. ULBs are responsible for maintaining accurate operational data, ensuring timely uploads, and using performance metrics to improve service efficiency and accountability. ULBs must promote public awareness and participation by conducting information campaigns, encouraging responsible waste behavior, and facilitating user-friendly grievance redressal mechanisms. Infrastructure operations, including processing plants, material recovery facilities, and landfills, must be managed in accordance with prescribed environmental and safety standards. Additionally, ULBs are required to ensure financial sustainability through effective user fee collection, transparent contracting, and regular performance audits. These measures collectively enable urban local bodies to deliver reliable, efficient, and environmentally sound waste management services under the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026. Slide 20. Conclusion: Pathway to Sustainable Waste Management. The Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026 establish a transformative and forward-looking framework for sustainable waste governance in India. By integrating clear roles and responsibilities, robust regulatory oversight, digital transparency, and science-based standards, the rules move beyond conventional waste disposal toward a resource-efficient and circular economy approach. Emphasis on segregation at source, decentralized processing, extended responsibility mechanisms, and accountable enforcement strengthens environmental protection and public health outcomes. Effective from the 1st of April 2026, the rules require all regulated entities, local bodies, states, and central departments to align institutional systems, reporting frameworks, and operational practices to ensure full compliance. The centralized digital portal, monitoring mechanisms, and enforcement provisions promote transparency, consistency, and evidence-based decision-making. Collectively, the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026 redefine waste as a strategic resource rather than an environmental liability. Through coordinated and accountable action by governments, industries, institutions, and citizens, the framework advances climate resilience, resource efficiency, and inclusive development across both urban and rural India, thereby laying a durable foundation for sustainable growth for present and future generations. With this, we conclude our discussion on the Solid Waste Management Rules, 2026, a comprehensive and forward-looking regulatory framework for environmentally sound solid waste management, effective from the 1st of April 2026. In our forthcoming sessions, beginning next week, we will progress to an in-depth exploration of key environmental components under the ESG framework. We encourage you to remain connected with our channel, engage with the content, and share it within your professional networks. Your support and recognition, through subscribing and enabling notifications, are greatly valued. We extend our sincere appreciation for your continued engagement and wish all our viewers a happy, healthy, and prosperous journey ahead. Until we meet again, thank you and goodbye for now.